Okay, in this video we're going to talk about hypnotic inductions as they're used in the opening segments of newscasts. And in order to do so, I'm borrowing a video from the channel called Intros World, and it's going to be top 10 news intros. And as it's being played, you can observe how the introduction is very important, and it's a very short segment, perhaps a minute or less, that you are exposed to when you begin to watch the news. And that would be called the hypnotic induction. Okay, did you see how that featured swirls and fast-moving imagery? So that captures your eye, and then that begins to get you into the idea that you're being hypnotized. Okay, very often in introductions, especially in the very old ones, you'll see the globe. And I think it's because the globe, even though it's false geography, I think it's because the globe as a ball represents Baal or Baal, and Baal or Baal in the Old Testament is simply just another name for the devil and a false god. So that's my thought, why the globe is always in introductions. And then also you'll see the globe somewhere in movies, and usually it's a statement trying to say that we're under the power of Baal, and we're putting you under the power of Baal.
Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.
Notice how the lines go up and down and in and out and around, and that's to get your mind in that state of hypnosis. Okay, there's your spinning ball, or Baal. Okay, some of the idea of it is to present to you lines and movement and flashes and everything coming at you so fast and so powerful that eventually, in a sense, your conscious mind shuts down. And you say, I can't handle this, and I want to go into subconscious level. So it's beginning to take you down into the depths of hypnosis. It's like riding an elevator and going down below ground level. Let's say you are descending in an elevator to go into a mine, and down you go, down, down, down. You're shutting off your conscious, rational level whereby you can think with clarity and rationality. You begin to descend into the depths of not being able to think at all for yourself, and not only that, that a lot of things that are coming at you are completely irrational, but you think they are real. Okay, those were all created, I guess, not in actual use. And if this owner of this web or this channel on YouTube created them, he did a wonderful job in terms of creating something that does bring you into that hypnotic state. So let's take a look at CNN, how they do things.
CNN breaking news. This is CNN breaking news.
Okay, could you kind of feel yourself starting to shut down? I felt myself when that flash came. There's flashes of light and intersecting and lines coming at you in various ways. In other words, you can't handle it. It's like when you plug something into your electrical line and you already have a lot on that electrical line, and then what it does is it blows the breaker, because the line itself cannot handle it, so it shuts down. So your conscious level of thinking shuts down, turns off, and there's only one direction to go, and that direction is into the subconscious. Okay, we'll take a look at another one. This is Sky News. Okay, that one doesn't have as much as the other ones, but by presenting that one to you, you can see the difference. It's not as strong. It's not as strong of a hypnotic induction as the other ones. Okay, that one was pretty powerful, and usually when the lights started to flash, that's when I'm starting to shut down. Right about there for me, and then there, twice. I could feel myself shutting down. It's like saying, I'm calling it quits. I can't handle it. All right? I'm going to shut down. Now this next video was made up, I guess, by somebody with lights. And they're showing you how the power of flashing lights can do something to you. It can bring you into that hypnotic trance or that hypnotic state just by watching lights go on and off. Which is interesting to me because if you've noticed over the years, the flashing lights of the police and yes, even like the fire trucks and everything have changed, and they're really powerful. And I recall being around a fire truck, and just the lights, as you watched them, you could get hypnotized just by their lights. So whenever the ambulances go by or the fire trucks, in a sense, there's a hypnotic state being induced by the observers. Okay, now this is a rather old one, so I'm not expecting too much out of it. It's there, but it's not as powerful as the newer ones.
From Channel 4, the Tri-State Area's leading news station, this is Action News.
Good evening. 2 men were killed tonight at the...
Okay, I'm going to play that one again. And mostly what I'm going to say in this one is,
Pittsburgh.
right at the beginning there, you saw it. Now these are just flashing images of sort of ordinary events, but they come at you so fast that you begin to say, oh my gosh, I can't handle this. Okay, now this is not too bad. Remember, this is from about 1979. Now these inductions have improved tremendously in terms of getting people in the hypnotic state. But that was a rather older one. Okay, what I'd like to do next is to take you to some of the information about altered states. Okay, now this is an article that tells you that there's an actual change in the function of your brain. Okay, so when the hypnotic state is being played against you, something is going on in your brain. And it is beginning to actually shift. So that's why they call it an altered state of mind. Basically, you slip out of the conscious level and into the subconscious level. And depending upon how good they can do it and the techniques and the visuals and the sound, determines how far down you go. Again, use the imagery of the elevator going down under the earth, and you're going into a mine. So what we're going to do is allow this individual, who is Kayla Rose. Kayla Rose, who did some videos on what we refer to as mythology, but in all honesty, what is listed in mythology bears out in the spiritual realm. So we need to know who this is and what it is that happens to us when we watch television, but in particular when we watch, quote, newscasts. Who is it and what is it that's going on in us as this is being presented to us? So it goes back to the god Hypnos, and that's the Greek version, and he was in charge of sleep. So let's just let this run for a minute or so here and see what we can learn about Hypnos. Okay, the Romans just borrowed the gods from the Greeks. Notice the relationship between hypnos and relaxation. Fear and fantasy, imagination are all tied into hypnos. Okay, right now the world is in a nightmare state, and the shape of society is being changed. All because of a dreamlike state. And there's fear coming in, and that's the number one thing that's going on right now. And fear has created a whole world of terror right now. Okay, people have entered through one of these gates. Of course, it's a nightmare gate. Now remember that the television and hypnos can produce great pleasure too. Now the twin brother is Thanatos or death. And that's why death is in so many of these fake news stories or these hoax lies that are presented. Because they're twins, Hypnos and Thanatos. The sea of forgetfulness. Hypnotic plants. Fantasy Island. Right now we're in Fantasy Island, but it's a nightmare island. A deep sleep-like state. That's what people are in. They've been hypnotized by hypnos. Okay, now there's the person that did that video, and we want to thank that individual for the video.
Something inside me is always
Okay, back to the videos that I did with the on-stage hypnotist. I tried to make sure and drive home the point that these students right here, they're not faking, by the way. These students right here are under a power. Now imagine that's you, and that's me, and that's your friend, okay? And that's the person at work, okay? These are your educators, are in this dreamlike state. Why? Because hypnos has been present through the hypnotist. Now this is your newscasters right here. When the newscaster starts with a story, and that's what it is, just a story, this is what state you're in. Okay? Now you can deny it all you want, but it is the truth. And like I've told people many, many times, and I have not had one person come back to me yet and take me up on the challenge, but the next time you're among people watching television, watch them watch television. By the way, you can do this pretty well at a restaurant. Restaurants aren't open right now, but you can do this pretty well while all those televisions are blaring out, and you can see how people are drawn to it, and they're just almost in a numb-like state. I know when I go out and I'm with family or something, and there's a television on, it distracts me tremendously because my eyes want to go to the television. Or if I go to a home and visit with someone and they have the television on, I have to fight it so that my eyes don't go onto the television. My eyes stay with that neighbor or friend or whoever I'm trying to visit, because the hypnotic power that's generated in that electromagnetic field, and that's what it is, it's an electromagnetic field. But it's more than that. It's the hypnotist who loves Hypnos, the false god, who gives the power to. Okay, this individual is just a servant. This individual is just being used. This individual is the channel. This individual is the channel on your television set that you're watching. Okay? But behind this curtain, right here, see this curtain? Behind this curtain, there's the false god Hypnos. Okay, there's where we were in that other high school. I'm so surprised that all these high schools are doing this. I don't ever recall this being done when I was in high school. Things have changed a lot, and I'm not up on all the changes. Now this was one out in the open that was done. And this is a lady, a woman hypnotist. So it's not just men. The ladies have entered into this field too. But look what she has done to these students. Okay? They seem to like doing that, like putting them together and putting his arm around her, because they know that's a little funny, because they'll be so embarrassed when they wake up. And that's another way that you know it's real, because a young lady in high school may not just like this individual's arm around her, okay? And if he does put his arm around her, he might be really liking it. Who knows? But you can tell this is not fake, because these powers are real. All right, so now we're going to go to Hypnos himself. And there is Hypnos with his twin brother, Thanatos. And Thanatos is the Greek word for death. And oftentimes people will just refer to somebody who died as well, they're just sleeping. And a cemetery is a place where you place the sleeping. So you see how death and hypnos are related. Now maybe you can see how so many of these hoax stories involve death, because it goes back to this relationship in the spiritual world. And the mythology, which we call mythology, is kind of, in a way, an accurate picture of how these demons function, or how this power that's released functions. It's a little like trying to learn electricity, and you need a manual. Well, how does the electricity flow? And you get that manual in the Greek mythology and the Roman mythology. Okay, now back to a definition again, and then I'll close this segment with this. It's an artificially induced trance-like state. And I would have to refine that a little bit. It's not really artificial. It's a real induced trance-like state by powers that are not completely understood. Now by that I mean the demonic realm. It's just not sleight of hand. Okay, I like to use two different words. There's magic, M-A-G-I-C, and that's just sleight of hand. But there's M-A-G-I-C-K. Now that's the invoking of the spiritual realm, the unseen realm, and the devil and his forces. So it creates a trance-like state characterized by high susceptibility. And I would change that to almost saying not high susceptibility, but actual belief that what was presented is real. Again, some of this depends upon the ability of the hypnotists and what they're using. But obviously right now, this has been so perfected that maybe 98% of the population is under hypnosis. It's hard to say. I'm just going by what I observe all around me. Everyone believes that there's a deadly virus in the air that can get on anything, and everything must be scrubbed. And you must not get within close proximity of anyone. So the job of hypnosis was done very, very well and very successful right now. So we'll talk a little more about the media and how there's mass hypnosis through the mass media. And I'd like to thank you for watching, and I'd like to thank you for coming to the end of this video. I know most folks don't want to go this far on a video, but I just want to reach a few people. I'm not really worried about numbers. I just want to reach a few people and try to show them exactly what's been going on. Thank you for watching. End of video.